Good Monday morning to you out there listening or watching on whoopfm.com. I'm Sissy Fickelstaller, and you're listening to Sissy Social Circle. And I'm so glad to have you with us again on another Monday morning. We've been doing this now for, I guess, a little over maybe 2 months, or a month and a half. I'm not really sure. I can't keep track. We're having a lot of fun. Today, I've got Johnny Clements back with us in the studio, and Johnny is what I like to call a health guru. So he knows a lot of information. He's full of great topics, and so Johnny's in the studio today, and we're going to talk about gardening, natural remedies for sleep, and other things like that. Johnny, how'd your weekend go?
Went pretty well. I stayed busy, installed a new wood stove, and got a good workout chopping wood, and the kids had fun. They got to carry the wood as I chopped it and carried it back to the house, and we did all kinds of stuff like that. It pretty much took all weekend doing that, so.
Yeah, and so where did you get your wood stove?
We got it at Tractor Supply, and it's actually this is a good time of the year to buy one because they're marking the prices down.
There's your deal of the week.
So that's good. So 15% off with already the sale price. That's good, and there's only a couple left, but they're fun to install, and we're still working on the chimney process of it.
Yeah, we have a wood-burning fireplace in our house,
Oh, yeah.
and we really love it. And at our old house, we had a gas fireplace, which was easy. And years ago, when Bush did these tax rebates, we got a $600 check, and that was what we did with it. Was we went and bought gas logs that had a remote control because we were just lazy like that. We wanted to click a button and be able to start it, but there's nothing like a real wood-burning fireplace. And so we cut our wood, chop it, and bring it in. And my husband's really good at, placing the newspaper down, then the kindling, getting that going, then putting the larger pieces on. But when he's at work, I often find it's difficult to get it started, or that it takes me forever. I spend practically all day stoking the fire, getting it going. And so I cheat. I just go buy the boxes of the fire starter logs, and it saves me a lot of time, and it's easier that way.
Yeah, and now as of next year, they maybe start banning wood stoves and stuff, and they're not making them as much. So if you don't have one, I mean, you might want to get one pretty soon because there are also all kinds of new laws coming out and environmental type things.
Oh, why would they not have?
I don't know all the detail in it. I just heard about it this weekend, but. You can read and look online, look at that, but there's something going on right now. But everything's getting crazy. It seems like.
Yeah, so you want to get your wood burning stove and all your guns and ammo.
Oh yeah, guns and ammo. We're stocked up.
I know we are too. And what else did you tell me you were doing? An infrared light? What did you tell me?
I've been studying about infrared lighting lately, and infrared lighting is it's amazing what it can do. It penetrates 3 inches into your skin, and it actually rejuvenates bad cells like aging, sunspots. It helps heal injuries, inflammation. It does a lot of different things. I mean, and it feels good too. It's warm to the body. So infrared rooms can get fairly expensive. So I'm taking a closet in my house, and I went to Home Depot, and I found this OSB board, a reflective material, and a lot of infrared rooms are all made of that cedar. And that the infrared room's a direct light, and that cedar just absorbs the light. It doesn't reflect it back. So I found a new process. If you can hit the infrared light onto the something that reflects, you're going to get 90% more exposure to the infrared. So we took that closet, and I'm putting an OSB board down, and then I'm getting the infrared heating lamps. And then it's a small closet, so you shut the door, and it gets up to about 110, 130 degrees. So you're in there sweating in the closet, and you're getting rejuvenating your skin and getting healthy.
So how long would you spend in the closet?
About 3.
Before you came out of the closet?
about 30 minutes.
30 minutes?
About 30 minutes.
You better bring a book.
Yeah, bring a book. It's pretty relaxing, but I haven't got it going yet. But it's good. And by the way, to buy one of these, it costs about $1,500, $2,000, $3,000, depending on what kind of model you're getting. I'm building this for about $150. So,
wow.
So it's you can do a lot of things yourself.
That's very interesting. Do you know anyone around here that has one?
I don't know anyone around here that has one.
See, this is your moneymaker on the side. You could start charging people. This is the new wave of the future beyond tanning beds. It's the infrared light closet.
Yes, and you don't get a tan from infrared, but it gives you that good the ray from the sun.
Well, I know
red,
people like to go to the tanning bed. I've heard often people say that they like to go because it makes them feel good. You know, that warms their skin and it just feels good, and they sort of get addicted to that good feeling, not necessarily the tan. They could get addicted to this, and then it would be better for them.
Oh yes, much better. It's good. I mean, a lot of professional athletes and people, movie stars, they'll use this lighting to help their skin.
That's very interesting.
So, it's interesting.
Yeah. And so how long do you think it'll take you to get it up and going?
Hopefully after I'm finishing this wood stove, I found out my chimney was a little bit short. I need to stack another pipe on it today. So, after maybe next weekend, I'll start working on that, hopefully.
Now, has anyone in your family, extended family, do they think this is crazy?
No, the people that I talk to, I guess, in my family, we're really into health, and they all want me to build one for them too. So
that's interesting. That's definitely something to Google. It's an infrared light room, and just to see what all the benefits and all the good stuff that come along with it. So Johnny, so you did that this weekend, and you did the other. Tell me about the oils that you brought. This is this is very interesting to me. Would you consider these essential oils?
They're essential oils.
Okay, so what's the benefit of an essential oil?
Well, you get it more pure, and you'll get it directly into the system. It goes right in, it goes into the bloodstream a little bit faster. But this is, I came up with I'm sorry, I thought I turned it off.
No, that's fine. Now, a friend of mine is going to do a workshop soon, and she and I went through yoga teacher training together, and she's doing yoga with essential oils, and that's going to be at B Yoga. And so when I was there working the other day, I noticed that they had a box that had a lot of different oils in it, and it probably had, I would say, 30 different little bottles. Yeah. And when I pulled them out, it said, stress reliever. It said anxiety. And because I'm always curious, I, of course, smelled each one, and some of them, though, like the one for anxiety, I thought that would give me more anxiety because it smelled wretched. And so then I went on to the next one. And so I was going, I like this one. I like this one. I like this one. So, but I just wonder, why would someone take part in essential oils? What's the benefit?
Well, that was the first medicine. That's how medicine that's what medicine is, pretty much. It started off that way, and then a lot of natural medicine, that's what they use for. When you go to a natural medicine doctor, they're going to give you essential oils, and it like I said, it absorbs faster into the bloodstream, and depending on what your issue is, it should help with that issue.
Would they prescribe one or a multitude of essential oils?
Like for example, when I go to Dr. Jeff Hall, he'll test me for something, and then he'll mix different things together for your body. Because not everybody's the same. Like if somebody has an ear infection or something like that, and he gives you silver is good for treating infections and bacteria infections. He may have to add something else with that to get it to work better, to absorb better. So depending on what your body will take, and he can find out through muscle testing, which is a pretty neat thing. It's mostly the energy in the body, kinesiology, and it's pretty cool if you've seen it done. I think you have it done before, haven't you?
No.
Jeff Hall? No, I didn't see him.
No.
But it's interesting. But I'm
becoming more open to things like that. I've been pretty anti stuff like that.
Oh.
Because just because I come from a background where I was in pharmaceutical sales for so many years, and so I always say, no offense to anyone listening, I want to go to a real doctor, a medical doctor that's gone to medical school. And so when I hear someone that says they're a doctor, I say, not really. You're not really. But so as I'm getting a little bit older, I feel like I'm appreciating the benefits more and becoming more open to that. Probably as also I've left the pharmaceutical industry now for 8 years. And there's a benefit to both. And also my own physician, when he's told me, where he's gone for different things, I said, you went there, and then, but he himself has seen the benefits. And so I'm becoming more open to it. And I do find it interesting how something natural like that can have a much better or equal effect as going to the pharmacy and spending $50 on a prescription when you don't have to, or to put those chemicals in your body when you can find a natural way to do it.
Yeah, and when I was in college, that's something that I was thinking about too. I really wanted to do some, because I was at the doctor a lot. I had asthma growing up, and I had all kinds of issues, and I was always at the doctor. So I wanted to do something in the field of medicine. I was wanting to also do pharmaceutical sales, and then until I just started getting to more natural health, and as my athletic abilities started getting more advanced, I started seeing what some of the professional athletes are doing, and they're going natural. I mean,
I do feel like the majority of our issues can be controlled through diet, you know, and
yes.
By modifying our eating habits and eating healthier, I do feel like high cholesterol and things like that can be managed much more so than, you know, taking a pill or spending money. It's a few years ago, the News Free Press documented that the average Tennessean is on 17 prescriptions a day.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing?
17 a day, yeah.
And I have a friend of mine whose son is ADHD, and he is 9 years old, and he's on medication for that. But the one that works for his ADHD gives him anxiety. So now he's on Zoloft. He's 9. He's on Zoloft and an ADHD medication. And it sounds absurd, and yet at the same time, I sympathize with his mom because she doesn't want it that way, and it really upsets her. And she said there's so many nights she has cried herself to sleep because she's at a loss as to, you know, what to do and how to help him. And I don't know what the answer is. And it could be something simple as eliminating the processed foods and dyes.
Yes.
But I don't know. I try not to judge because I always say until you've walked in their shoes, it's easy to say. But it just goes hand in hand with so many of us are on prescriptions and pharmaceuticals. And if we could find a better way that's more natural, would it? Or if we could change our diet, wouldn't we want to do that?
Oh, definitely. I mean, even if you're not on medication and you eat the normal diet that we have, you're still taking in chemicals and drugs, and you may not even know it, but you're on something. Like sucrose and aspartame, all that. I mean, stuff like that. That's all drugs.
There was a recent study that just came out, actually, and it was about Splenda. I've been very cautious over the last few years about any sort of artificial sweetener. And I'm just going to read to you about this study that just came out. And I tell you, you just have to really, Splenda goes from safe to caution after leukemia was found in mice. The Center for Science and the Public Interest is urging caution in the use of the artificial sweetener Splenda. A food safety advocacy group has downgraded its rating for sucralose, the artificial sweetener better known as Splenda, from safe to caution in its chemical guide to food additives. The Washington-based Center for Science and the Public Interest announced Wednesday that it had long rated sucralose as safe, but is now categorizing it with a caution, pending peer review of an unpublished study by an independent Italian lab that found the sweetener caused leukemia in mice.
Oh, yeah.
That's one of the things as far as it goes along with saccharin, aspartame. They have received the center's lowest rating, which is avoid. One of those things you really have to think about when you're going into my son, actually, we were at a restaurant the other day, and he asked me what Sweet and Low was. And I said, it's a cancer. It's going to give you cancer. Put it back down. But one of the, I think we become into the habit of using these things and not realizing the long-term benefits. Another bit of news that just came out about when it comes to eating healthier, this is one thing that's always puzzled me about eating healthier and fast food. I don't understand, and maybe there's not a market for it, why we don't have fast food places where you can drive through, grab a wrap that's healthy, a wrap that's, a spinach wrap or something that we could eat while we're driving, because we're all about safety too, right? So something that we could eat that would be healthy, and why are our only choices things that are not good for us? But when it comes to eating healthier, fast food joints may be getting a seat at the table. A study found that, contrary to popular belief, many meals at full-service sit-down restaurants like Olive Garden, I don't eat there. That's just
you don't like Olive Garden?
I do not. Are worse for you than some fast food items. Even so-called healthier options often exceed the daily recommended amounts of calories, fat, sugar, and sodium. And when you think about it, they want you to enjoy the food and they want it to taste good. They don't care that it's healthier, and they don't care that it's low in calories. They just want you to come back. The average sit-down restaurant meal, including an adult entree, a side dish, and a shared appetizer, clocks in at nearly 1,500 calories. Add dessert and drinks, and you're way over your daily budget of 2,000 calories. Experts hope the study encourages full-service restaurants to increase their health-conscious offerings. I doubt it, because the bottom line is dollars.
Yes, that's why we don't see healthy restaurants, fast food restaurants.
That's right. I wonder out in the West if they have those and how they do, if they've experimented with that. I'm sure they have, and maybe they found there wasn't a market. Still, people gravitated towards the Burger King. I'm sure.
Well, once you get on the fast food, you're addicted to it, and then you don't have the cravings for the natural food anymore, and so you just they don't have a market for it, so they'll go back to where they're addicted to.
I think one of the best measurements, and I may have said this before, I had an Ayurvedic doctor. Here, I just said they're not real doctors, but I had an Ayurvedic doctor tell me last year this, and it's simple, and it's an easy measure to use. He said that, and I may have said this a couple of weeks ago, but he said, you take something, all of us, you can't say everyone's, going to eat the same thing or should eat the same thing. You find out what is good for your body and what feels good, tastes good. And so if you eat something, wait about 30 minutes, an hour, how do you feel afterwards? And if you feel good, if it tastes good, you feel good, that's a good food for you. Just being mindful in your eating and taking that into effect. And I know whenever I eat a lot of meat or really meat at all, I don't feel good. And last night I had to teach a beginner's workshop for 34 people for yoga. I knew I had that coming up. So when we went to lunch yesterday after church, I looked at the menu and I thought, I'm going to get the lentil soup, and I got the stuffed grape leaves because I knew I would not feel sick later if I ate that. Now, if I had ordered the beef rigatoni or anything like that, I would have felt so gross.
Yes. Yeah, that's what you got to do. You just keep a little food journal, and then you find out what works for you. That's the best way to do it. That's better than going and get tested at a doctor's office, really.
How do you and Rachel eat? Do you all cook mostly at home?
I do. I'll cook and well, a lot of our food we don't really cook. I'm kind of gravitating more towards cooked foods and eating more like raw vegetables and fruits.
Do the kids like that?
They do because they're young and they grew up with this and they've never been exposed. Like my kids have never been to a McDonald's before.
Really?
No. They've never been there. I mean, if it's funny, like if they're ever doing something bad, I'll say, I'm going to take you to McDonald's, and they straighten up. They think it's like this evil place.
That's so funny.
But they don't tend to like the foods because of what we fed them. They grew up on mothers and then goat's milk, and get our eggs from a farm down the road from our mother-in-law's house. So
that's interesting. Yeah. And Rachel's a pretty healthy eater, right?
She does pretty good. I mean, we're not perfect. It's
right.
hard to be perfect, but
it is.
But the majority of it is pretty good.
Hey, and I wanted to talk to you about your garden. So you started a garden. When did you start it?
Oh, sorry, you can't hear me.
No, it's all right.
I first started it last year because it's a raised garden, and it produced a whole lot. We've been gardening since I was little. But my own personal garden, one by myself, this past year, and it's a raised garden. And
so what was the difference that you felt? I did my garden in the ground. I didn't feel like I wanted to spend the extra money on a raised garden. And also, our neighbor was coming over with their tiller off the back of their tractor, so I didn't know how we would do that on a raised garden. Oh. So what do you think about?
Well,
maybe next year I'll do, or this spring I'll do a raised garden.
Well, what I did, it's pretty simple. I just tilled up the regular ground first. Then I took some stones. We had a lot of rock around our area. The ground was real rocky, so I just took it all and made about the size of this room. I boxed it all in, and then it's about 1.5 feet high. Then I went over and had a mushroom compost delivered in a dump truck. I just dumped it right in the garden, and we had 6 yards of it, and as we had some sand in it also, and it built it up to about 2 foot deep. And our garden is like, some people say they can't have a garden because there's too many trees, it's too much woods, but my garden is pretty much in the woods, and it grew like crazy. I mean, I had 10-foot high tomato plants, and it's in the shade, but the soil was really maintained well. Good soil, and we dump our compost. Like if we have scraps from the house, we just kind of put it back into the garden and shovel it around.
Now, this may sound like a crazy question. So last year when I went on my yoga retreat, they had a little bowl that they kept by the sink at the end of every meal where everyone put their leftovers for composting, because of course they have a garden out there. It's on a huge, out in the woods. It's sort of like Wanderlust, that movie. I mean, it's really, you're out in the woods with earthy people, and so they've got their own compost. And I couldn't help, I didn't want to sound like an idiot, but in my mind I kept thinking, how do they do this and they don't get maggots? How is that? Do you ever think that? Like, if they're collecting all these leftovers, to use for compost, and they're putting it in a pile outside. How does it not smell? And how do you avoid getting bugs and maggots?
Well, I haven't had that problem. We keep our soil like nice and tilled up. I mean, I guess when you're composting, you go and you shovel the soil, you shift it and rotate it, and with the dirt and the leaves.
Maybe also too, one of the keys is that you do not use. And I'm saying now, as I'm speaking, I'm telling you right now. If you're thinking this at home, or maybe you're not, or you think I'm just completely a ding dong about this, this is gardening for dummies right now, and I'm just going to go ahead and tell you. So I'm thinking too, one of the rules is that you don't put animal products in your compost pile. Maybe that's probably key to keeping it fresh too, right? So you can use eggshells, any kind of waste like that, but you wouldn't put leftover.
No, I just throw those out for the animals. Like if it's leftover meat or something like that. The fish or whatever.
You wouldn't put that in your compost pile.
Some people may do that. I don't do that. I'm not an expert on like composting or gardening, but I'm learning a lot, and we're having good success from it. So,
I can't remember. Did you tell me that you did broccoli?
Yes, we did. I had some good broccoli growing too, and it was real big heads on it. And then a groundhog came and got our broccoli right when I was about to go get it the next day. Every single bit of it.
He knew your schedule.
Yeah, so I waited for him the next day with the 22 waiting for him.
And then you had groundhog stew.
No, he never did come back. I guess since the broccoli was gone, he never came back. So
well, he was smart.
Yeah.
He was smart. He came in, got his goods, and left.
Yes.
He was on to the neighbors.
I guess so.
He knows. He's a smash and grab.
So
now, I guess this year maybe I'll do a raised garden. I'll get my compost. How much would you say that you invested in your garden?
Not very much. I mean, I got the dirt, probably about, dirt maybe about $300 altogether, because I had our soil was real acidic where we live at, and it's nothing but rocks, so I had to really get a lot of dirt. But I think that's not bad, though, about $300 for the dirt delivered and everything. And then the plants, of course. I mean, you got to buy the plants or start them yourself in your house.
Did you start them yourself or buy the plants?
I bought the plants. I went to
I did
Ace,
some of that.
Yeah. And
I did both, and it worked out well both ways, actually. I bought the plants just to kind of get us a jump start on it. But the ones I did that came up the best were actually the ones that came from a seed that I grew myself, and those were the carrots.
Oh, okay. And so your carrots got nice and long? Or did they?
They were short.
Short.
But I think because we planted them late in the season, so we planted them at the end of October. And I think that was the problem. But they still came up, and they were delicious, and they were wonderful. And the kids were so excited every time they would pull one up. It was like a surprise. And so we had enough to have carrots for 2 nights. And I know that sounds like not that much, but there are 6 of us. And so next year I'm hoping we'll get a little bit more. Do you think that this year, because of the groundhog issue, will you invest in the fencing?
I probably won't do that just yet.
That was expensive. I quoted it, and for us it was going to be about $250.
Yes, I won't be doing that yet until I know permanently where I'm going to keep my garden. This is kind of a temporary garden, because I'm planning on making my whole backyard into a garden eventually. So I'm not putting anything permanent. Like I planted 34 blueberry bushes this winter. It's the best time to plant them is in the winter time, because when
is it over, you think?
No,
time to plant blueberry bushes?
It's good right now, because the roots still grow, but the plant it's dormant. So it's best to not to do it when the leaves are on the plant. A lot of people wait until spring, and the blueberry bushes look real healthy, then they plant them, but they'll still do good, but it's better to do it in the winter.
Where do you get your blueberry bushes?
What is next to Crackle Barrel, that little our nursery back there off that road.
Yeah.
That's where I went and got my blueberry bushes.
Bryant's Garden Center?
Bryant's.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, and they had a good deal, and they should still have some. They got them in their greenhouse right now, and they're pretty reasonable.
Oh, you know what? I will tell you, this is one thing, folks, when I tell you this. Sometimes we often go to places like Walmart because we think they have the best prices. But yet in my mind, I would rather go to patronize a local business because I do believe it's important to support our local business here in town. So Gary and Maureen Bryant, who own Bryant's Garden Center here in town, that's their business, that's their livelihood, and what they, make their living off of. I told Gary not too long ago, Gary, bottom line, I want to save money, and I've gone to Walmart and compare shopping with my plants. The prices that they have, you would think if you went to a locally owned garden center, it would be more It is not. The most variance I have seen has been 1 penny. I mean, that is it. So if it's just a 1 cent difference, I think it pays to shop local. Have someone that if your plants die or go bad on you, that you can go back and that they'll replace them, and to have that sort of relationship versus going to a major retailer like Walmart. So I always encourage people, support your local business, and you're going to pay the same price, so you might as well shop local.
Yes, and their blueberry plants were way more quality because the way they have it in their pots, they plant it in a pot that where you can keep it in their pots for a couple more years still without having to transplant it.
Did you do that? Are you keeping them in the pots, or you just went ahead and transplanted?
Actually, because I don't know where I'm going to permanently put them, I put it in a bigger pot than it came in. I put it in 5-gallon pots, which should last another couple years because the roots in blueberry plants don't grow deep; they grow wide, and so what I did is I put it in the pot with good soil. Then I planted the pot in the ground, so I can dig up the pot in the next year or two, and put it where I want to put it.
That was smart. Now, how much would you say? Do you remember how much were those blueberry bushes?
They were about $10, and the thing is, the blueberry bushes, they were already like 3 years old. They had blueberries in the nursery on them, so that's a really good deal. And they also prune them the right way too. You can tell they pruned them because you can see where they're splitting. And you go to Walmart or something, they don't do anything to them. They ship them,
and that's one thing. We're always told that we need to eat more blueberries because of the high level of antioxidants, which is so good. For cancer prevention, or even if you do have cancer, it's wonderful to just make your diet chock full of antioxidants, and blueberries are so high in antioxidants. But it's expensive to eat healthy, and if you go to the grocery store, sometimes I've seen the small pint as much as $4, $3.99 for a small pint of blueberries that probably have pesticides on them. No, there's no telling how long that they've been sitting there in that package, and to have them grown that you can just go out and do yourself and pick. It saves you so much money, but it's also a lot healthier.
And a rule is when you're going grocery shopping, anything that has like that soft skin and they're not organic, they're going to have a lot of pesticides in it, like the strawberries, the blueberries, apples. But something else that it doesn't matter if it's organic or not, like is coconut and bananas, because it's got that thick, it doesn't really absorb it as much. It's better to get as organic as possible still, but those berries are like the worst about holding pesticides, or even your vegetables like the carrots and the romaine lettuce. They really absorb a lot of pesticides when they're used.
Oh, yeah. So right now, tell me, with your garden, so if you've got somebody at home that's a total novice at this, and for me, that was me when I started this past year. It's not like I grew up. My parents didn't really plant flowers or plant plants. And so everything that I've had to learn, I had to learn on my own, looking on the internet or reading magazines, and really just by trial and error and figuring it out. So this year I'm going to do a better garden. Right now, my garden's got weeds in it. It's not looking so good, and maybe I want to do a raised garden. Here it is, January. If I want to have a good garden this spring, what would you suggest I start doing now?
I guess, I mean, I can come out to your house if you want, and we can look at it, and that'd be fun to do, and I can help you see what you got to work with. But finding out exactly where you want to put it, maybe if you're going to raise it, maybe start working on the raised bed part of it. It's probably okay to get the soil now too, because they're stocked with soil and they're not as busy. It probably won't be as busy, so you can probably get it easier delivered to your house. So I would just start working with that. Some things you can start planting, but it's still kind of early. It's January. But there's some of your greens you can start planting like late February, like the broccoli or romaine lettuce.
Do you have a push tiller that you use?
Yes.
I see. So I probably need to purchase one of those rather than having the neighbor come over with pulling their tractor, which was great and convenient and easy and does it so fast.
Yeah, I do.
But if I'm going to do a raised garden, I'll probably need a push tiller. And
and if you get the soil, if you get like mushroom compost, the soil is so easy to work with. You probably don't even have to have a tiller. You can pull it with your hands. I didn't use one this year because the soil is so easy to work with, and it was all new soil coming in, and there wasn't a lot of weeds in it. So this year, since I had new soil, it kind of settles down. So I'm gonna add some more soil to it because it packs down, and there's really not that many weeds.
Did you find that there was anything that you planted that you ended up not eating, that you won't plant again?
What was it? I planted too many radishes, that's for sure.
I know.
And I planted them too close together, so that but I'll spread those out. Like a packet of radishes, and you think you want to grow a whole garden of radishes, so you go buy something with seeds, and then maybe buy 5 packets or something like that, thinking that's not enough. 1 pack will grow like tons of radishes
and I think about it, and they're beautiful to look at, but when I think about it, I don't even know that I ever eat a radish unless it's sliced in a salad that I get at a restaurant. I don't think that I've ever purchased them, that I've ever made anything with radishes. But when you see it as a choice for seeds and things to plant, you think, yeah, that goes in a garden. I'll buy that. And then maybe you don't eat it so much.
No, I didn't eat many radishes. But on the carrots, though, if you're wanting your carrots to go longer, make sure that part of the garden is deeper. Because it'll grow to it'll go as long as you want. I mean, you can get a foot or so long if your soil is that deep.
That's so crazy.
But what happened to my garden, because I had maybe 8 inches of soil in it, the carrots would grow down, and wherever they start to get hard at, they just kind of ball out. So I had like this carrot with a big ball on it, and they grew really big too. I had one carrot that was probably the size of a softball, like round wise. And it just, because it hit something, and it just stopped growing length, and it just went out that way.
Yeah.
So
I think that's on my list now. Is I'm going to go.
Peat moss is good for it too.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'm going to work on getting my raised garden, my compost, and all of that, and my blueberry bushes. I can't remember exactly where it is right now, but there's a house that I've passed several times in Cleveland, and they have a sign out that says blueberry bushes for sale. And I always think about stopping, but yet there's that caution in the back of my mind that thinks, what if it's not blueberry bushes? What if I go to the door and I knock on the door and maybe they grab me by my hair and drag me in? So maybe I should just go to a real business.
I guess so.
You never know.
It depends on the prices too. Do they have a phone number?
No, it just has the sign.
Wow.
You have to walk up to the door. You have to park and walk up to the door, and it's just a house. It's just, who knows who lives there.
Yeah.
You don't know. And I don't see any bushes out front.
My wife, she's a FedEx driver, and she comes up on some crazy people. So it's a dangerous job if you think about it. Just going to somebody's house all the time. And
yeah. Has she had any strange situations lately?
Yeah, she's had all kinds of weird, not lately, but a lot of strange situations in the past.
She probably has some checklists, like she stays on the porch. She never goes inside if they ask her to bring the box inside.
Yeah, a lot of times they'll ask her to come inside, and she won't do that, so that's good.
Well, and she's on a time crunch. She has so many deliveries to make, I'm sure, and she has to hustle fast.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So how long has she been doing that?
I think she's going on 16 years now, so that's been a while.
She's seen a lot in 16 years.
Yes, yeah. So I can tell you some stories.
I'm sure it would be really interesting.
But that's okay.
Now, we're talking about getting healthy, staying healthy. And I usually like to do a recipe of the week. And so rather than the traditional recipe that we normally do with food, Johnny's going to provide a recipe for sleeping better.
Yeah.
And we all want to get better sleep. That's one thing I realized after my 4th child was born, is that I wasn't getting good quality sleep. And it's also a good preventer for wrinkles and aging to get your good quality sleep. Thinking process, memorization, and all of that. We need quality sleep, but also just in preserving our skin. So forget your Botox, folks. You need to be getting your sleep. So after my 4th child was born, I realized I needed to work more on that. And so I get about 8 to 9 hours every single night.
That's good.
And I just put down, I don't get a lot of other things done because I know it's bedtime and I can't wait to go to sleep. Maybe that's also the phase of life I'm in with 4 kids that I can't wait to go to sleep.
Yes.
But I do find that there are times, especially when I'm very busy and I have a lot going on and things to remember, that I know, that feeling that you're always you're forgetting something. So sometimes I don't get the most restful sleep. So you've got something here that's better than or equivalent to taking an Ambien.
Oh, yes.
But in a natural way?
Yes, in a natural way. And also, if you are addicted to sleeping aids like drugs, this will help wean you off of it too. So something I have started off with passion flower. It's an abstract.
Now, all of these essential oils that Johnny is showing, he has purchased all of these locally at Abundant Living.
Abundant Living, one of them is from Apple Tree. So Abundant Living and Apple Tree. They're a little cheaper.
And Apple Tree is the one that's over there by Fuelin's in the Target Shopping Center?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're a little cheaper online, but a lot of times you're going to pay the shipping. So
unless
you buy so much
levels
of it.
out to the
so
same.
if you buy like big bulk of it, and but you got to experiment first and start local and find out what you need before you start buying big blocks of anything. But passion flower, and it's a good sleeping aid. It helps with GI, anxiety, seizures, ADD.
Where do you put it?
You take. So what we're going to take all this at once. There's three things. I got a valerian root, passion flower, and kava kava root. And what I do is I take 4 ounces of water, and then I take a whole droplet full. These are droplets, a whole droplet full of kava kava, passion flower, valerian root, and I put it all together. And it's kind of strong. I mean,
you're mixing it with the 4 ounces of water
because it has little. I mean, this is like alcohol a little bit. It's really strong. It's like a tincture. So you drink that real quick, and then about 30 minutes before you go to bed. If you take
you drink it.
Yeah, you drink it. You just down
what does it taste like?
It tastes like a tincture. It's very strong. It's like
what's a tincture?
It's like doing a shot of whiskey or something.
It's
pretty strong.
Tincture is a shot of whiskey.
Tincture. Well, it can have vodka in it for.
Oh, okay.
But
well, I've been partying with the wrong people.
Yeah, but it's pretty strong and it works. It helps if you take out one of them, like the valerian root, and just do these two. It can help with anxiety and stress.
So if you just take out the valerian or take out the kava kava
yeah.
root,
because this one causes drowsiness. The kava kava will cause good drowsiness, and these two can help you with anxiety or just relaxing or ADD.
Now, are any of these FDA approved? Probably not, because they're natural. Now, just remember, if you're listening to this and you're thinking about doing it, if you're the average Tennessean and you're on prescriptions, maybe several, you want to check with your doctor first before you do any of this in case it has any drug interactions. Because, even something simple that's natural could have an interaction, and you want to make sure beforehand that it's okay to take with your 7 anti-anxiety medications and your 2 sleep aids and your high blood pressure and everything else.
And these aren't going to cause any nervous or any problem with your nervous system or anything like that. But like you're right, though, you need to make sure you don't get in trouble and tell people to do something.
So it may taste bad, but you down it.
Yes.
Quickly.
Uh-huh.
And if you don't die from the taste,
it's only about don't make too much water.
You'll go to sleep soon.
Give you 30 minutes before you go to bed. If you don't want to do it right when you go to bed, because you might go to sleep and then all of a sudden it could just hit something and make you wake up a little bit. So you want to do it about 30 minutes.
I see.
Yeah.
Now, what about your digestive system? Does it give you diarrhea?
If you eat it on an empty stomach and you take too much of it, it can cause a problem. But taking a droplet full is not going to cause any problem. If you're not eating food at all and you're just taking this stuff all the time, it may cause some digestive problems.
Do you have any places that you go online that you look up these things and get a lot of information?
Yeah, if you just Google any of these, you can find out a lot of information out of it. I like to look at the source PubMed.
PubMed, PUBMED?
MED, and they talk a lot about they talk studies that came out, the latest studies. That's one resource I really follow almost daily. I mean, they're always having new studies come out. It's a good one.
Speaking of websites, I have to ask your opinion on this. I heard this the other day on the radio. Mm-hmm. So, do you do a lot of apps on your phone?
I do some apps, yeah.
Well, there's so many different creative apps.
Uh-huh.
Johnny, I heard of one the other day. Let me ask if you would be interested in an app like this. It's a leftovers app.
Leftovers.
And it is about your leftover food.
Huh.
So for me, I make large quantities of food, and I might say have a half a casserole dish left over, and you post it on the app. You go to the app, and you find out who has what kind of leftovers in your area, and you swap your leftovers.
Let's hope they're a good cook.
Or they have a clean kitchen.
Yeah.
And so for some places like New York or LA, where it's a large melting pot of people, you could really come across some good food, maybe some Syrian food, someone that's Turkish, good Indian food. But you would probably, you might benefit though if there was a profile picture with it.
Yes.
You could see if they were clean or scary looking.
Background check.
Yes. Yeah. I'd say send me a picture of your hands. I want to make sure your nails are clean. And so, but I did find that was interesting. I often have leftovers. But it's kind of scary too, because like, how long has it been sitting in the fridge? I will only eat leftovers 2 to 3 days afterwards. If it's 4 to 5, I won't do it. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. Another thing you can do is this, like do it among a group of friends, and then have like maybe one night a week, everybody come together and have dinner together. That'd be kind of fun.
That's a great idea. That would be a better grouping than people you don't know.
Yeah.
Sort of like going to the house with the
potluck.
blueberry bushes.
Mm-hmm.
I would be going there to pick up a half of a casserole.
Yeah.
And I don't know who these people are, and I don't know exactly what's in the casserole.
Mm-hmm.
You could also get some people, maybe some bad people, go on that line and go online and post things that just to trick others. But anyways, I thought that was interesting and something to think about. I thought about that for most of the day afterwards, about if I would go on there. I kind of want to Google it just to see if anybody in Cleveland is posting on the Leftover app.
So I never heard about that, so I'll check it out.
Well, Johnny, okay, so tell us about your workout routine. What you got going on now?
For my class?
Yeah, so you're doing 5 a.m. and how many days a week do you do that?
Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
So you did it this morning?
Yeah, we did it this morning. We did an all body weight workout this morning. We used isometric workout. Have you ever tried holding a squat for 1 minute? Mm-hmm. It's tough, and I guess you do Pilates, and we did that kind of workout today. Or yoga. So we did that kind of workout today. We did you hold a squat for a minute, hold a lunge for a minute, and on each leg, and then like hold a push up down real low, and you get that shaking, and that shaking it's amazing what that does. I mean,
lots of endurance.
Oh yes. So we did that kind of workout today, more isometric type workout. It was a good workout.
I do want to show you, and I don't remember if I've shown you this before, but there is a very good posture or asana, which is how we refer to it in yoga, that you can practice if you have any thyroid issues, if you have thyroid disease. And for thyroid disease, that also constitutes hypothyroidism, which is what I have that, and I have to take Synthroid every day for it. And so this was suggested to me last year. And it's very interesting how certain poses or asanas can affect and improve ailments that you may be experiencing. And so if you have something like this, try this at home. And I'm going to show you. You take your feet out at a 45-degree angle. And you're just going to have your feet a little bit further apart than your hips. And you're just going to sink down low. You have a long, straight back. Your neck and your head, your shoulders are completely relaxed. The backs of your hands are going to rest on the upper part of your thighs, and you're just going to sink down in a low position. So you're going to just hang out right here. Now, it seems like also you want to make sure that your knees do not go in front of your toes. That, when you're in a posture, you want to make sure that you're completely stacked so that your knees are stacked over your ankles, right? Mm-hmm. So you're going to sink down low, and you're going to see how long you can hold that. And this is really good for your thyroid. So that's just a little tidbit that you can share that I would like to share with you. And I'll tell you, a minute is a very long time. It looks like it's a very easy posture.
It's long.
But a minute is a very long time. Uh-huh. And the man that we had that taught us this, he said it has taken him 20 years to work up to 12 minutes. And that sounds
That's
like
a long time, 12 minutes.
That is a very, very long time. And it's interesting. And so try it at home. Try it while you're watching TV.
I'm still working on trying to hold a lunge for 5 minutes. That's tough. Holding it for 5 minutes a lunge. Knee all the way almost down. I mean, you start shaking like crazy. You feel every muscle in your whole body working.
And then are you sore the next day?
Yes, yeah. And it's that good sore. You just feel tight and strong. So
the people that are working out with you, do you have any new people that are New Year resolution people?
No, I don't really advertise my class. It's I have the same people. I mean, there's people in my class that are in my class that have been working out with me for 3 years. So wow. I'm saying keeping consistent with the same people, and I like it like that. I know them, and I know how they. I mean, we always welcome new people, and if they get into our group, they'll probably have fun into our group. But I like to limit my class to about 8 to 12 people.
That keeps it good, and then they're able to still have individual attention, and not feel that they're in a huge group setting.
Yes.
Last night when I did my beginners class, I'm starting a beginner series for yoga, and I had 34 students last night. And so, oftentimes people want that individual attention, yet for someone who is a beginner, I thought some of them might be relieved because they know that there are so many people in here that they're all in it together and they're not being looked at as closely. So, and it's funny how many people walked in the immediate. I said, just go inside the studio and find a place to put your mat. So many of the people said, I really want a place in the back. I said, yeah, not getting it because we're all sitting in a circle.
Yeah,
And
I need to try your class out sometime.
You need to. It's fun. We keep it fun. And
Yeah.
if you're here in Cleveland and you think you want to try out yoga, and I've invited people to do this more than once. Lisa came with her friend this past week. Is I teach on Wednesday nights at 6:30 at Broad Street United Methodist in the parlor. It's completely free. It's fun, and it's at a beginner level. So even if you've never exercised before it, if you're overweight and you feel like you're out of shape and you're not flexible, I still encourage you to come and try it because it's a wonderful time. And I always say it's your time, it's your practice, and you're really doing something for yourself when you come. So
is that 6:30 p.m.?
6:30 p.m. It's 6:30 to 7:20. It's actually, to be more specific, it's 6:35 to 7:20, just because of the blocks we have at church. And but it's a great time, and it's a great group of people. So I always extend that invitation that it's completely free, so you don't have an excuse. You don't have a mat? That's okay. Come on anyways, because I've got extra. I'll share one with you, as long as you're not too sweaty. And so that was one thing last night when people left. I washed the mats. You don't want to get a sweaty mat.
No.
If you don't have your own, you want one that's clean.
I got another interesting pose for you. This is kind of funny, though.
Yeah, tell me.
Have you heard of the squatty potty?
No, the squatty potty?
Squatty
No.
potty. It's a pose.
Okay.
Because like you were saying about how that pose helped your thyroid, there's also a pose to help you go to the bathroom better, too. and it sounds funny, but it's important, though, because people walk around with 5 pounds of waste in their stomach even after they've used the bathroom because they're not eliminating
efficiently.
No. So there's a squatty potty they came out with, which you don't have to have a squatty potty. You can actually go. It looks like if you're going into the woods, into the nature, and you're in the woods, and you just sit and you squat to go number 2.
I do that all the time. I don't even use the toilet in my house.
But and you can do that in your house too. Yeah, over the toilet. You stand on the toilet lid.
Just use the tub.
You stand on, but but that method, you got that pose where you're squatting down real deep, and it lengthens the colon out straight, so it makes it one clean swipe. But
is this sort of like a malasana squat that you would do in yoga? It's the pose that you would be in. It's sort of the same. It's the same posture that people in third world countries will take all of their meals. It's interesting how you can have a 90-year-old who has slept on a dirt floor their entire life, and yet they're still so very limber and not stiff because they're not conditioned to sleeping on a bed.
Yes,
they are the same ones who. They don't sit at a table. They sit in a squat and they eat all 3 meals a day in that pose. It's interesting how in some of my classes, even people who are in their 30s have a very difficult time coming down into malasana squat. And or if they do, they're still kind of hovering up. Heels are completely up off the ground. They're unable to get themselves in a flat foot position. It takes time sometimes, but I think it's the way we've been conditioned and pampered throughout our lives with our Western culture. But the squatty potty is the same as the malasana squat.
Yes, and our furniture is hurting us.
I've been doing this for years, and I never knew it was the squatty potty.
Yeah. Well, our furniture is hurting us, and the squatty potty is actually this little step that you can put around your toilet. And it has foot, and it raises up where it's almost to the height of your toilet lid. So it's like you're standing out on a flat surface, and you're using the bathroom over top of your toilet. And so you're squatting real deep, and then it helps everything come out nice and straight and clean. And you don't carry around 4 or 5 extra pounds of waste after that.
I do that all the time because if I have to use a public restroom, I never touch the seat. I barely touch the doorknob getting in. And so I look like I'm going in for surgery because I push everything with my elbows. I did that just now when I used the bathroom here. I hover a lot.
I like to if I go to a public restroom, I like to get right up on top of the toilet, like just stand on the toilet lid. And then squat over top of it, and then you lock your door. But sometimes you have to make some noise in there because somebody might come and like try to open your door because they're looking under there, looking for the feet, and they don't see your feet.
Well,
but it's all.
I think my kids are probably going to grow up with a complex because anytime we go to a public restroom, and I don't care what anyone thinks of me when I go in there. Somebody may report me to child services. I don't care, but I say 1,000 times, get over here. Stop touching that. Do not touch anything. Yes. Oh, stop it. That's disgusting. And I'll say, well, they'll say, how am I going to flush it? And I'll say, I will do it for you. I will get tissue and do it for you. Stop touching things. A few years ago, we were at Walmart and somebody had to go to the bathroom, one of the kids, and I've got 4 kids, and so we go into the handicapped bathroom because there's more room for 5 people in there. And literally, I could have just died. I took one of the kids. Of course, I always put, the toilet paper down because I tell them you don't want to touch that, and I set them on top of the toilet paper. So when I got them off and I was wiping them, and I had said 1,000 times, do not touch anything. And I turned around to wipe the one bottom, and I looked back. Lo and behold, there's the baby. And it was like he just, I don't know, gravitated towards the porcelain throne. And his hands were just, I think the only thing that could have sent me over the edge is if he had just licked those hands. I think I would have passed out flat. I immediately screamed, what are you doing? Get your hands off of that. Oh, my gosh. So I was just dying, scrubbing everybody's hands afterwards. Of course, things shows like 2020 and those shows say that the public restroom seat is cleaner than most toilet seats that you know of, and so maybe it's just something that we've conditioned ourselves to think. Regardless, I'm not touching it with any part of my body.
Yes, yeah, and another purpose you can have is it's healthier because you're getting a nice clean shot into the toilet without having clean catch. Yeah, because if you're sitting like in this position we are now, it's not going to. It has to work and go like this. I mean, it doesn't come out easy or straight. And that's causes a lot of health issues. I mean, like the gut, the good bacteria in the gut, you're keeping all that junk in there.
It's interesting too. It sort of goes along with Pavlov's theory. If you ever took a psychology class in college, and the whole theory that he had with giving the dog a treat, and the dog would see the food and start to salivate. So the dog was conditioned that when the dog saw the food, it knew what was coming, and so. I think oftentimes our bodies are like that. The last time I was in the hospital and they had me on bed rest, I had to use the bathroom, but I only had to pee. So it wasn't, and they pulled out a bedpan and said, well, here, you're going to have to go in this. And I said, I really can't do that. I really cannot do that. And she said, well, you have to. You can't get up. And so she got that, the little thing to put underneath me. And could go. I mean, because it's almost like we condition ourselves that once we feel the coldness of the toilet seat, our body knows to release and we can go. And if you don't have that and it's just a plastic thing and you're in bed, I mean, it took a lot. I thought I can't do this. Well, and I feel bad if people have to go,
Well, think about the angle they're at. If you're laying in bed and you're trying to go number 2, you're not, that angle is not good. You're not it's not going to, it's going to stay in there.
Got to get the motion.
Yeah. Well, the motion, yeah.
You've got to get the motion and the gravity push down, and you can't so much.
No,
it's an exciting conversation.
It's really a serious topic. I mean, people don't realize it. You can go to the website squattypotty.com, and you can buy your own squatty potty and put it under your toilet.
Do you know another way to challenge yourself in the squatty potty pose, which is really the malasana squat, the same is if you get the blocks, the yoga blocks, and you put them underneath your heels so that you're just a little bit hinged forward, yet you keep a neutral relaxed spine. That's also another challenging pose that challenges your thigh muscles and your legs. So I know you learn something new every day. Sometimes we've done that in class, and that's always really challenging. So got any more words of wisdom before we go, Johnny?
I mean, there's a lot of things to talk about.
He has a lot to talk about. He really does.
Yeah. So,
I'll leave you with one quick story before I go. Doing yoga and other fitness classes and exercise, it's important to know the different body parts. And I, even at my age, I'm 37, and so there are still muscle groups that I'm unaware of. Did I tell you this story, Johnny, about the glutes?
I'm not for sure.
I can't remember if I've told you that. Have I told you, Lisa, about the glutes? So I'd like to say it was longer than this a while back, but it wasn't. It was only a couple of years ago. We went to, Lisa, you would like this story since you're a massage therapist and that's your training. I'll tell you this. Yes. So we went to a resort center for my husband's family reunion, and I signed up to get a massage, and I was so excited about it. And when I made the appointment, they said, is it okay? You're going to have Jason, this guy that was a massage therapist, and they said, is it okay to have a man? Which was nice of them to ask me because, some people feel uncomfortable with that. And I said, oh, absolutely, it's fine. I don't care. And so I went for my appointment, and he was a younger guy. I would say probably mid-20s, maybe early 20s. And I have a hard time relaxing in a massage. As you might imagine, I talk a lot, and it's hard for me not to talk. And it would be better probably if they said, please just don't talk and relax, because then they sort of give me permission. Otherwise, I feel like I need to get to know them. So how many kids do you have? Where are you from? And before you know it, the hour's up, and I really didn't relax, but I still enjoyed it. So this guy Jason's in there giving me the massage and everything, and he's doing a really good job. And I'm just chatting up with him, and he's telling me about his girlfriends he's had in the past, and on and on and on. So then I roll over to my stomach, and he's giving me a massage on my back and everything. And he says, "Do you want your glutes done?" And I don't know what I think maybe sometimes I'm just an idiot, and I thought glutes. I thought maybe that he was talking about the back of my thighs, and I thought, well, of course. Why would I not want my glutes done, you know? And so I said, sure. And he said, well, I always ask because some people are uncomfortable with that. And so I want to make sure first. And I said, no, I'm fine. And my face was down in the little hole, you know, like the little donut hole that you put your face in when you're on your stomach getting a massage. Well, he lifted up the sheet. And when I get a massage, I just take everything off. Because, you know, you don't want lotion and everything on your underwear. And so he lifted up that sheet. And the funny part is... now I wonder if he was really even a trained massage therapist. He tucked it into my crack, and he started massaging my rear end. I felt my face get so hot. I thought, what have I gotten into? I mean, this is just so weird. And but it was sort of like I don't know how to explain. Bittersweet. It felt good, yet it felt uncomfortable. Yet I thought I was doing something I shouldn't be doing. Yet I couldn't stop. So I just thought, oh, okay, so that's what the glutes are, and I will remember for the rest of my life. So he finished, and then he went on the other side. And, you know, that was very odd and uncomfortable. And so when I got back to the place where we were staying, I told my husband's aunt she was scheduled for the next massage. And I said, Kim, do you know what the glutes are? And she said, sure, it's your rear end. And I said, oh, well, I think I'm in the minority because I just figured out what they were and he massaged mine. And she said, what? And I said, so if he asks you, you know, just to say no, because if you don't, you're going to be exposed completely and it will be very awkward to carry on a conversation after that.
and you're, as a massage therapist, you know that glutes are probably one of the weakest part of the body, and they probably need the massage the most of any part of the body.
Yeah, well, it felt nice. It was just kind of weird, and the fact that he tucked the sheet right in my crack was kind of weird. I felt like I had a wedgie.
Yeah, they're not really supposed to tuck it into the crack, but you're supposed to kind of put it there. But you were right. The glutes are one of the biggest areas for a lot of people. They hold a lot of their tension there.
Maybe he just felt like it made it more neat. Maybe he likes a tucked sheet on the bed, and he thought, that's a great place to tuck it in. I'll just tuck it in right there.
There are rules of tucking, but you're supposed to be a little more discreet about it. But he did do the right thing. At least he asked you. Because there are some massages. I've been to a massage before. Abdominal massage is also another very... extremely important massage but a lot of people don't like it because it does help remove the waste from the colon because you do it a certain way and you get all the yuck out of the colon. And so a lot of people can benefit from that. But it's not everyone's cup of tea, as you don't like your glutes to be massaged. So you really have to ask, are you in? But I had gone to a massage one time and she didn't ask about the abdomen. And, I'm like you. I don't wear anything for the massage because the bra gets in the way and the panties get in the, and you want to have your whole body massaged. So when I turned over onto my back, all of a sudden the sheet comes down off my chest. And I'm thinking, where are we going here? I was literally devastated. I thought, what's going on here? Are we doing some kind of, breast massage? What's happening? And so finally she placed this little thing over my breast and said, I'm going to work your abs now. And I thought, oh, thank God. So it was very important that he at least asked you if you wanted to have your glutes done. That typically is the way you need to do it.
I felt a little embarrassed when I left. I felt like I didn't know if I should tell Andy or not. Or maybe I should just make that my little secret between Jason, the massage therapist.
It's very common. As a matter of fact, in school, you're taught to be thorough because the glutes are an extremely non-worked area. A lot of folks do not because they're so self-conscious about somebody massaging their butt. And it really, just like you were kind of self-conscious and, oh my Lord, I didn't know whether to be embarrassed or turned on or what was it,
well, what was the deal? And I didn't want to sound like an idiot and say, oh, I didn't realize that was what the glutes were. I just decided just act normal and it'll be over soon. That's what I kept telling myself. Just act like you've been here, done that.
Well, there are so many key muscles there that are so important to the overall health of your back, your hips, your legs, your gait, the way you walk, the way you're structured. It can just really help out a lot.
Yes.
So,
Lisa, have you ever told anyone, why don't you just relax and we'll talk afterwards?
I had some people, because as a massage therapist, you're also taught to let the client dictate how they relax. If they're quiet, then you stay quiet. You don't start the conversation. But if they start the conversation, certainly don't ignore them, but try to answer their questions, but don't try to extend further conversation, because you do want the person to try to relax. But for some people like you and me, we're very high-strung individuals. Relaxation for us is talking and finding out about the person and finding out if they're okay and, are they a good person? But a lot of times I may talk at the beginning, but typically I will try to talk myself into being quiet and relaxing, because I know how important it is, not only for your time, but for your muscles to relax and not be, caught up in any type of conversation. It gives the massage therapist a smoother, cleaner muscle to work with.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Johnny, have you had a massage before?
I have once. Yep.
Did you like it, or was it uncomfortable?
No, I liked it. It was good. I do a lot of foam rolling because I mean, for a massage therapy, I really need to massage a couple times a day, like before my workout and after my workout. So I just grab a piece of hard foam or anything hard, and I just sit on it and just roll and break that muscle up. Sit on my glutes.
And that's a good idea.
I'm telling you, if you live next door to Johnny, you wouldn't even turn the TV on, because all you would have to do is look in the window
and have
see
entertainment
him
by
foam
Johnny.
rolling, getting in the closet, coming out hot. I mean, you would say, "What is this guy doing?" Now he's in the garden.
I do it in the driveway too.
That's a good idea, though.
You just need to give us your address. We'll drive by. We don't even need to go to the movies. We'll just go by. We'll watch. What's he up to now?
Well, I'm always doing something weird in my yard. People always see me on top of my roof, and I'm like looking or climbing
He's using
a tree.
a squatty potty in the bush.
Yeah. I'm probably the only dad out there that's on a scooter riding around with a scooter on the kids, and I'm always doing something weird like that, and never wearing a shirt, even in the wintertime, hardly outside at home.
Adventurous.
Yeah.
Adventurous.
That's exactly right. Yeah. Well, Johnny, do you have any tips to leave us with as we close the show? If somebody's looking to start their own garden, what would you say? What would you say would be a good tip? What would be a good investment without breaking the bank?
I think the best investment would be know what you want first. I mean, really research before you do it and know where you're going to put it. I mean, it's a waste of money if you're not going to eat it. So find out what you really want to eat, and then Google things. Find out how it grows and what soil pH level it needs. That'd probably be the best advice. I mean, knowing what you want first and then drawing out a plan.
Also, something else Gary Bryant told me the last time I was in there, I thought it was a good idea. He said, plant somewhere. This is a good piece of advice. Plant somewhere that it would be easier to expand. Oftentimes, you don't hear people say that they're going to make a smaller garden. Mm-hmm. They find that the next year they want to make a bigger garden. And if they've started in a part of their yard that it's difficult to expand, then you're having to start completely over if you go to a larger part. So start at a place that later on, if you want to add on, that's feasible. Mm-hmm. And that was I felt like a really good piece of advice.
Yes, that is. It's good.
So on that note, thanks for coming in, Johnny. Johnny, real quick, coconut oil.
Oh, well, I brought this in as another topic. That's something else. This is MCT oil. It's stronger. It's 6 times stronger than coconut oil. It's the way it's processed, and it's very healthy. It's all cold processed.
Do you drink it?
You do. If you're at night, if you're going to bed at night and you wake up a lot with hunger, like you're really hungry in the middle of the night, if you take a spoonful of this before you go to bed, it really is, because it's got that good fatty oil in it. It helps you not be as hungry in the middle of the night. Yeah, I use it. When I shave, as I usually do shave, but not today. But I use it for my shaving cream. I use it for dry skin, but not the MCT oil. I only digest this one, and I use coconut oil for the other stuff. You can make your own energy drink with this stuff. If you take a spoonful of MCT oil into coffee, maybe, and this sounds weird, but butter into it, like maybe a little 4th tablespoon of butter, and nothing else, and just kind of really picks up your metabolism. It's all healthy. It's all good fats.
What did put the butter in your coffee?
Yes.
Butter?
Yes, butter in your coffee. You can go to a website, Bulletproof Coffee. Bulletproof Coffee has really high quality coffee. It'll tell you how to make bulletproof.
Bulletproof. Bulletproof.
Yes, bulletproof. But it tells you how to make this bulletproof coffee, and it's very healthy. There's no sugar, nothing. But it helps you to burn fat faster and helps you to have energy longer. I use it before I run because I go hypoglycemic easy. If I eat anything that has like any type of carbohydrate or sugar or anything to it at all, and I'll go hypoglycemic within the first 2 or 3 miles of my run. Then I have to kind of run it out. But now that I'm taking MCT oil, it's helping me to stabilize my blood sugar much better. I can eat my regular food and then.
So you're taking, like, you put some of this, a tablespoon, in your coffee. But
Coffee.
then does your coffee taste like coconut coffee?
No, I don't. I'm not a big coffee drinker, but it does. It tastes. I mean, I
like coconut.
yeah.
I just didn't know how much it would
It doesn't.
flavor
No,
it.
it doesn't flavor it much.
Very interesting.
No, you can if you want. I mean, you can take a swig of it.
Here, I'll smell it. I'll just smell it.
It's. I mean, it's.
I can't let it interfere with my coffee.
not
I
very
spent $5 on.
Yeah, you can pour that into your coffee.
That smells real. That's that. You know.
It's not very strong at all.
No, not at all. It
My
doesn't
ki-
really have much of a scent to it at all. This was $12.99. This is pretty
Yeah.
large, so it would last you a long time.
Yes.
So you would take a tablespoon, put it in your coffee in the
Yes.
morning. Great for starting your metabolism and for energy. So you're going to use the MCT, which this is good for ingesting. Yet you would use the coconut oil, basic coconut oil, which maybe is that cheaper?
It would be cheaper.
So you would
yes.
use that for. Did you tell me that you use it for deodorant?
deodorant because it kills bacteria. It's good for. It's actually a sunscreen too. Coconut oil is a natural sunscreen. You can apply zinc oxide. You can get 100% zinc oxide off of Amazon. Put that into the coconut oil and make your own sunscreen. I think you've read that before.
That's
you?
right.
And that it works. It's like a 20 proof if you do that.
I think this is becoming very popular. I've had so many people that I've heard just recently using more coconut oil for different things. So that's something you really want to check into.
Yes, it's good for your brain. If you have a kid that has ADHD or ADD or something like that, this will help them to think better and calm them down.
Just by drinking a little bit in the morning?
Yep. I give it to my kids every morning.
A tablespoon?
I give them just under a tablespoon. I don't really measure. I just grab
Well,
a
do they take it
tablespoon.
willingly?
Yeah, they have no trouble with it at all. They don't even think about it. So
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So I may try that.
Yeah.
I'm going to Google it and see what kind of things
Sure.
come up for it.
look at
Because
bulletproof coffee. That's pretty interesting stuff. It'll
That is.
explain everything. You'll see videos and
I love my coffee, and I'm
Yeah.
not giving it up. I mean, I guess I feel like one of those smokers that says I'm not giving up the cigarettes.
Yeah.
But I'm not. I'm not going to give it up. I had somebody tell me the other day, they tried to sell me Advocare, and they said, what do you do in the morning to get your energy? And I said, I drink coffee. I drink maybe 1 or 2 cups. And I love the warmth, how good it feels in my hand. I love the taste of it. And I love it. It's a part of my morning ritual that I really enjoy. And she said, we've got to get you off of that. And I said, well, that would be if I wanted to get off of it. I don't. I guess I'm like a drug addict. You're not taking my drugs from me. You're not taking my coffee.
Yeah.
And so I'm not, it's kind of one of the, and just, it's one thing I want to caution people listening at home. Be careful what you put into your body. And so if you've got someone trying to sell you something, make sure you know all of the ingredients that are in it. And I say that without any reservations, even at the expense of offending someone, because you were gifted with one life and one body, and it's up to you and your responsibility and to take care of it. And part of giving your thanks to God is by taking care of what was given to you and not abusing it. And so, of course, coffee is natural. And if you only drink a couple of cups a day, you're not doing yourself that much harm. I could probably go down to 1 cup, but I could tell you it's better than putting any kind of pills or so-called supplements that you don't know what is in that pill into your body. So just be cautious of that.
watch out for those energy drinks. They may say low sugar or something like that, but they'll camouflage it with sucrose or aspartame or something like that. So be careful with that.
I can't figure out when I drive down the road and I see those monster stickers on cars. I don't have a coffee sticker on the
Like
back
Red
of my
Bull
car.
or something like that.
Yeah, why would somebody put that on their car?
I
don't
guess it's
understand that.
cool or something. I don't know.
I don't think it's cool. I think it's ridiculous. So that's just how I feel about it. And so on that note, so be mindful if you're looking for a healthier 2014, at least switch to something natural. And who said you can't have a little coffee? It's better than an energy drink in the morning, and maybe try to everything in moderation. So
we could have a whole show on coffee. There's a lot of information about coffee.
there is a lot of information on coffee, and you have to, and there is a lot, and different brews and how to brew them.
Yes,
and Keurig has been popular for the last few years, but now I feel like it's the what's the name of it? Not Nescafe, or the Nespresso is becoming really popular, and I feel like that's sort of the wave above and beyond the Keurig. Another thing to spend our money on, right? Another thing to waste our dollars on. So with that said, I hope you all have a wonderful week, and thanks so much for tuning in, and wherever you're listening, if you're listening on the radio or you're on the World Wide Web. And may peace be with you. May peace be above you. May peace be below you. May peace be all around you. And on that note, I hope you'll join us next week. Thanks so much.
You need money overnight? Check into cash. Your time is tight. .com. Bank accounts too.